Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to another episode of ForSense. My name is Amilcar, and I am a sci-fi and dark fantasy author. First of all, I want to make a disclaimer. This episode was really difficult to analyze because it's absolutely stupid and boring. No, it's not the worst chapter so far, but it is the most nonsensical one there has been. It's like a collage of 90s and early 20s sketches, all packaged into 58 long minutes. The episode starts with what most looks like an imitation of Legally Blondie combined with some Nickelodeon teen series. I honestly don't know how something like this can fit in a sci-fi series of this type, but adapted to an 8-year-old kid, because I seriously doubt that anyone 17 years old would act like this. When I see scenes like this, I wonder, how the hell did they program Sam? I mean, her creators? Only a troll could have created or fabricated something with this personality. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. And the other thing, the imagination for creating aliens styles, I mean like hair and makeup, really leaves a lot to be desired. And on a matters like this, I am really critical because when creating something like alien races and that kind of stuff, we authors have to imagine the planetary conditions where the different species were born. Something like what we see in Star Wars, for example. And finally, I know this is a feminist agenda inclusion quote and all, but please, a ratio of more than 2 women for every man is just too much. It's too much. On the other hand, beyond the forced inclusion, I insist the lack of imagination when creating sports is abysmal. And what the hell with the dancing? I mean, in 1000 years they are still doing hip hop? And there is another question I have. I assume the Sam's creators, they programmed her with black skin tone purely for aesthetic reasons. But why include in the programming the forms and dance styles of an racial group from 1000 years ago? Isn't that a bit, I don't know, pointless? And as I said before, the levels of mental retardation in this series has absolutely no connection to the essence of a sci-fi series of this type. I mean, who the hell is the target audience for this show? Toddlers? 10 years old kids with cognitive dysfunction? The creators basically think their audience is stupid. In other words, a projection. And on the other hand, I know I've been asking for alien biology and, I don't know, more alien cultures, but fucking glitter? This is a pile of stupid fucking ideas. To sum up so far, Sam explains that her reason for having been created, is to be an emissary for her creators. This means photonic beings. And she said that they have never had contact with organic beings despite having been created by them as servants. And I wonder, if they were created as and moreover to serve, how is it that they have no contact with organic beings if they were their creators and to serve? Anyway, you don't need to have watched 700 episodes of Star Trek to realize this makes no sense. If this series is meant to attract new people, why does it feel like they don't care whether new viewers understand or believe in their world? Some creators question her about her choice of subjects and whether that helps them figure out if they can trust organics or not. And I was wondering, what is the point of sending someone with the cognitive abilities of a toddler and the social skills of a bear in hibernation to investigate and pretend academy, because that's how they behave, for such a task? And for them, I mean the students, the some, I don't know, classmates, partners, friends, whatever. Wouldn't it be better to have infiltrated agents into different areas, different institutions of the organics? I mean, they could perfectly well have programmed multiple beings with different appearance for that job. And this is the thing, for someone or something capable of creating life, like Sam's case, their creators, or her creators, sorry, are really stupid. And there is another thing. The theremin, that instrument that she was playing, was created in 1928. 1928. But since it's a little known device, because not many people know about its existence, oh, this must be sci-fi, or we can use this as sci-fi. As I say, 1928. And I insist, the writers didn't even bother to invent a device that works, I don't know, based on lasers, like the laser harp, for example, the laser harp, which was at least created, if I am not wrong, in 1981. An original idea also could have been an instrument that, I don't know, it could interpret feelings or emotion or the internal process of a body and transform them into music. That could be a really great idea, but no. They must take something that not many people know about. For some reason, I can figure out these photonic beings order some to enroll in confronting the unexplainable. I mean the class. And I say this because if they want to know whether they can trust organics or not, the logical thing, at least, is if they want to keep working with this idea to, I don't know, infiltrate some in the Starfleet Academy, the logical thing would be to have more social contact or activities related to that. And from here we jump to the story of Benjamin Sisko, an iconic character from a TV show called Deep Space Nine, or DS9, also part of Star Trek universe. And this character was played by actor Avery Brooks in 1999, because that's when the Deep Space Nine was aired. And with this, I can understand that the producers are trying to link, or rather attract, Star Trek fans to this show. But clearly, looking at the ratings for this episode, or for this whole show, it's the exact opposite. So, to get into that class, and I mean confronting the unexplainable, the professor who is in charge of this class, or who teach this class, talks to Sam about the mystery about behind Benjamin Sisko's disappearance, since it's not clear whether he died or transcended his existence and became some kind of higher entity, or if something else happened. And the point is that Sam set out to solve this mystery. So, to do so, she gathers her classmates, whatever you want to call them, which is already stupid in itself, because not only do they have no idea about Cisco's life in most cases, but it's as idiotic as if, I don't know, if I set out to unravel the mystery of Atlantis and went around my building asking to my neighbors for their opinion on this. And it's just stupid. And on the other hand, she's going to use a children's book to explain Cisco's story? I mean, if you go and take out outside, you can see that not even the kids from this period are using child books. Most of them, they are using tablets and mobile phones. So, this is exactly what I mean. The producers consider their viewers mentally retarded, or I don't know, people with the mind of a 5-year-old children, because that, to me, that's the only explanation to this kind of, I don't know, scenes or whatever you want to call it. According to my understanding, Darren is the first one of his race to, I don't know if he to enter the Federation, but at least to assist to the Academy. And here I wonder, why the hell does he use a reference, an expression as Schrödinger's cat, that it's not only human, but dates back more than 1,200 years before his generation? I mean, in this TV show, they can go 5 minutes without there being a lack of coherence or logic in a bloody conversation, and this is driving me crazy. Sam began her investigation by going to a Bajoran club where they are in some kind of meditation or religiosism. Sam, with the common sense of a rhinoceros in heat, asks the students who are there to raise their hand if they have ever spoken to or seen Cisco. Seriously, when you think this character could be more fucking retarded, the writers are like, hold my soy latte, and damn. And I mean, what I'm gonna say, I really believe it. Darwin was wrong. Natural selection and survival of the fittest weren't real, because according to that, it's impossible for something so retarded to have survived for so long. And I am not referring to the character Sam, but to the writers, producers, directors, and all the mentally retarded people involved in this piece of shit of that TV show. And from there we move to another scene with Nayla, who, to Barry, is not only dressed casually, but she's also wearing glasses and eating human food like the kind you find in our world in the modern era. Because absolutely nothing in this shit show called Star Trek Fleet Academy has any logic with the world and timeline in which it was created. Absolutely nothing. We continue with the subplot of this episode, which I'm going to summarize briefly so as not to waste your time. Commander Seren Kelrek has a meeting with a race with which humans and the Federation are going to make contact for the first time in their history. But since this is feminist propaganda, everything he does is a satire, or it's wrong, or it's a clown show. And he has the blessing of having at his side the most excellent counselor ever, Naila Ake, who not only corrects him on everything but explains everything to him, because he, like every other white man, is so stupid that he can't process anything correctly. And she also provides the perfect plans to solve all his problems, because she's the best of the best. Back to Sam's story, and on Naila's recommendation, Sam went to visit the virtual museum to Cisco because, as we all know, there are no teleports in this era. So, there is a virtual replica of an artifact with which they are supposedly able to communicate with Benjamin Sisko. But since this TV show is written by a bunch of morons, the writers forgot that the artifact is virtual, and therefore Sam interacts with it as if it were the original. I mean, 6 writers worked on the script, and no one of the 6 bloody mandrills noticed that the detail that the one at the Academy was a virtual replica and not the original artifact? This is bullshit. This TV show is a huge pile of bullshit. And continuing with the wonderful ideas, it occurred to Sam that the best way to understand Sisko and therefore solve the mystery related to his disappearance was to cook the food that was prepared in Sisko's family restaurant. Truly genius. And speaking about geniuses, first of all, I have to admit that I like the character of Caleb, because to me, he seems to be the only one with a purpose in this TV show. Even if he forgot about his mother like in the previous episode and in this one. But whatever. Even so, how the hell is anyone going to tell me that just by looking at some systems, he automatically know how it works? That is, I don't know, it was established a few minutes ago that some creators, these holographic creators, they cut absolutely all contact with organic beings. And after that, then they evolved as sentient beings. What, I don't know, it must be a long time between those two events. So, what is the explanation, or what explanation is there for him to not only understanding but knowing how to alter some program? I mean, I understand that he's a Garis too, but this is too much, really too much. Anyway, some creators told her that if she didn't manage to get into the class they had indicated, that thing with unknown, I can remember the name right now, they will remove her from the academy because she wouldn't be fulfilling her purpose, or I mean the reason for her to being created, or their needs, and I mean her creators did. And some response is, drum roll please, exactly, to go partying. I swear, because when you have a problem, the best way to fix your problem is go to party. Anyway, in that place, they meet, she and her friends, they meet the cadets from the military academy, and once again, the difference began. But don't worry, because fulfilling the presentation quota, we have a drag queen bartender, because of course the future. And because this show had absolutely no sense, Sam gets drunk because Caleb altered her program, or basically he hacked her program, so she could experience the sensation of being drunk, and I don't know, because that could help her to find a solution to Cisco mystery. And after she started, I don't know, causing some problems because she was not supposed to get drunk that fast, instead of fixing the program or the thing that she did with these 12 shots, he let it slide because that was the only way the writers could make the story progress as they wanted. And I want to make a little parenthesis before continuing with this wonderful show. And that's because in this episode, it becomes very clear that the love triangle is going to be between Kyle, Jaden, and Darren. Because yes. And I want to be clear in something. The plot of the gay Klingon could be very interesting if they took it from the point of view of his internal conflict regarding his honor and duty to his race, because they are on the brink of extinction, and the fact that he likes men and how he must, I don't know, at that point sacrifice his personal desires for a greater good, that is having kids with a female Klingon. And that will be an incredible character evolution. But no, it's just going to be gay because why not? As I said, representation. In the meanwhile, of this teenage adventure, the episode returns to the plot B once again. The only character so far who has acted like a Federation officer is Kelrick, and he makes it clear to them that everyone else is acting like a band of clowns and buffoons. And that's why he's the character I like it the most in this show, because he's the only one who acts in accordance with his rank and position. The only one. Okay, back at the teenage party. Solo, I think that it's the name, I can remember the pronunciation, pushes Sam, and I wonder once again, how is that possible? If Sam is a hologram, in fact, she just teleported there through their aim. But Solo was able to touch Sam, and I said she's an hologram. Anyway, sacrifice whatever is necessary to keep the plot going, because the only reason why Solo was able to push Sam, it was because the writers they wanted the fight. They was in need of that fight to continue with this plot of the rivalry between the academy, the Starfleet Academy, and the military school. That's all. And as I said a few seconds ago, Kelrick is the only one who behaves like a Federation officer. The only one. And after all these events, Sam meets again with the professor of confronting the unexplainable, who hands Sam the unpublished and almost lost book by Cisco's son, in which she supposedly could find the answer to the mystery of the latter's disappearance. Why does she give the book to her? Again, because yes, and that's the thing. And after that, she reads the book because even though she could memorize every page quickly, it's better the slow way, since this leads her to a sort of hallucination with Cisco's son, which in the context of her being a programmed holographic being makes no sense at all. And I mean, she's a hologram as she's having hallucinations. But as if those inconsistencies weren't enough, she cries. An organic and completely programmed being cries. And this is the same as if, I don't know, like my toaster cried every time I let bread burn in it. It's the same. Or my microwave started crying because, I don't know, it's the same. From there, we move to the conclusion of this episode, in which Sam not only proves she's not only going to have any character evolution, but decides to go against her creator's orders, and in an act of absolutely disrespect toward them, she makes them disappear. And that leaves me with several questions. Why don't they teleport Sam back to her planet? And some actions and attitudes could suggest some kind of virus, or I don't know, maybe some kind of environmental contamination in her system. And this will go against her creator's needs and desires. So if that was the case, why didn't they dispose of her? Anyway, that is for today's episode. As I said before, it was complicated to analyze it because while I don't consider it the worst chapter so far, that spot goes to the previous one because of the sheer number of inconsistencies. This one is by far the most boring one. And besides that, thanks for your time. Don't forget to give it a like, share, and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for your time again, and see you on the next episode. Bye bye.